We're going to consider the heart as a pump initially. When we think about the function of the heart, it's essentially a muscle pump, and it pushes the blood through the body to the lungs and around the rest of the body. There's a couple of interesting facts about the heart as it's pumping. First of all, there's about 5 liters of blood per minute that's pushed through the heart. There's also a change in that when somebody exercises, that cardiac output will increase and even double in some cases. The heart at a resting level is beating at about 70 beats per minute. So you can think about that's quite a lot of blood pushed through the heart with that 70 beats a minute. If we consider how the blood flows through the heart, let's take the right side of the heart first. The blood flows back from the body into the right atrium, and right away we can see that's the top chamber. There's a left atrium as well, which is the top chamber on the left side. From the right side though, the blood will flow through the valve into the right ventricle. And from there, it will flow through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. And this is where the blood is picking up oxygen. Now what happens then is that blood flows back to the left side of the heart. It flows to the left atrium, through the valve into the left ventricle. And it's here where there's a large pump that sends that blood that is oxygenated through to the rest of the body. And it flows through the aortic valve. And that way it flows around towards the head and the neck, all the way to all our limbs and down through our abdomen, and supplies our body and our cells with the needed oxygen. And then the whole flow occurs again. The valves, if we look at them, there's 4 different valves. There's the tricuspid valve, the pulmonary valve, the mitral valve, and the aorta valve. And these valves open and close to ensure that flow of blood goes in one direction. Sometimes things can go wrong with that valve. Like a valve can get quite stiff and calcified, so it doesn't open fully and creates a back pressure on the walls of the heart. This is not a good situation. Sometimes the valves can be very floppy and they don't close properly. And in that case, then some of the blood may backflow into the heart where it's the direction it's not supposed to be going. So the heart becomes less efficient, and that can lead to problems. Fortunately, if there are some valve problems, they can be helped by different kinds of treatment. Sometimes surgery is done to repair or to replace the valve. Now let's bring our attention a little bit to the side wall of the heart muscle pump. Things can go wrong with that muscle pump. There can be damage to the heart muscle so that the force that it generates is weaker than it once was. And this can cause problems if not all the blood gets pushed out through with each beat. You can have an accumulation of that fluid, putting a little extra pressure on the walls, which is not a healthy thing for the walls. If this gets more severe, then we can have a situation where we have congestive heart failure. And that is exactly when that heart wall is not pumping enough to get the blood moving through. We can have accumulation of that fluid, and it can even back up and put pressure on places like our lungs, causing us to be a little more short of breath. It can also back up into our body so that we have a little more fluid in our legs, in our abdomen, and we may see some swelling there. These are all symptoms of heart failure. And the reason why that heart muscle may have a little bit of damage to it could be various reasons. One of them is a heart attack or damage to the wall through not receiving enough oxygen via the coronary arteries, and that would be a heart attack. Another reason is that the muscle wall just becomes sick with an infection, and that can affect the whole wall and allow it not to pump quite as efficiently. Other ways that heart can be damaged is sometimes chemotherapy drugs can damage the heart wall and cause it to function a little less optimally. If someone's had high blood pressure for many, many years, pushing on that wall, there can be some heart failure in the end. as well as if valves are damaged and they remain undetected for a long period of time, that can lead to heart failure as well. There's many different reasons why someone could have heart failure, but the end result is that heart wall isn't pumping as efficiently. Fortunately, there's lots of medications and management that can really help heart failure and help the symptoms. A couple of them are to really manage your fluids, not to drink too much fluid, and to make sure that you're not eating a lot of salt. Salt can hold on to more fluid, creating more pressure on the wall, which is more difficult for the heart to function. There are medications that your healthcare provider can give you to help manage the fluid and also to make the heart muscle pump as efficiently as possible.